Hi there, Phan. So I think we've got some essays from you. Great job. I'm really happy to see that you have decided to write and get feedback for your writing. So let's get right into your video corrections and see what you had to say. Okay, the chart illustrates the fluctuation of the number of pet owners in 6 countries over 8 years. I would have preferred here. Okay, from 1990 to 94, the total amount of pet owners increased. Now remember, it's all past tense, so there's no reason to be using present tense here anywhere. It should all be past tense. So it increased consistently due to the surge in the figures of America and Wales. England and Canada were more stable with insignificant changes. Although there were annual variances, Ireland and Scotland always remained as the countries which had the least and most pet owners, about 100,000 and 200,000 respectively. Okay, moving on. From 1995 onward, all nations except the USA had a more invariable trend. The inconstancy of this indicator in America was the main cause for the overall variation. The final total figure in 1998 surpassed the starting figure 8 years before by a small margin due to the 50% soar in the number of American pet owners from about 120,000 to nearly 180,000. All in all, the yearly changes in the total quantity of pet owners have a strong correlation to the changes of America. Okay, so the good news is that the vocabulary and the grammar is, for the most part, quite accurate. Okay, there were little changes, or a few changes actually, that I would have made, and just a couple of errors that might not have been 100% accurate, but they were fine overall. They were good. Let's see. This is a tricky one because there's a lot of data. So let's see. What you basically did is that you broke it down in half, which is not bad. You never told me what the total number was from 1990 to 94. Okay, even though I would have liked that. And the only figures you mention for the 6 countries in that 4-year period of time is this right here. So to me, that's not really enough data. Okay, so an entire paragraph where you're basically describing half of the bar chart, just 2 pieces of data isn't really enough. You need to go a little more into detail than that. You never told me what the total number was, and that to me is a really important number as well. Okay? Then, pretty much a similar thing happens in the second paragraph. So for the whole second part, yeah, you talk about these 50% increases and so forth, but I really don't have an idea of what these numbers are. So here, I only hear about the American pet owners being 120 and 180,000. So I don't ever really have a picture of what's going on. I mean, the total for all these countries. I just have a very, very, very limited image here. Now, one of the things that I want you to remember when you're doing task 1 is that you need to describe it in such a way that the person reading it can more or less draw it, basically, or at least imagine it with their mind and kind of like visualize what you're looking at. I can't do that looking at this because, yeah, I know that was a lot of information here, but I don't even have the vaguest idea. Like, even in terms of the totals, like for me, that's the biggest problem. So I want you to add more detail, and I want you to think about describing this in a way so that the person reading it understands what you're looking at, okay? But there were some good elements. I mean, you had a nice overview. Well, it was a summary, essentially. This was fine. A lot of the language was fine. A lot of the vocabulary was fine. Let's take a look at your task 2 now, okay? Alrighty, so here it is. It's international marketing. Let's see what you said about this. In the era of globalization, international marketing has become more pervasive than ever before. It is deemed to be a form of cultural invasion by somebody due to its omnipresent. Okay, so let's change some of the words here. Not by somebody, because that means like by one specific person. It's not what you mean. You just want to say culture invasion by some. Okay? And then this should be due to its omnipresence. You want the noun form here, not the adjective. Meanwhile, it's advocates, not advocators. It's advocates argue for its benefits. In my opinion, the favors of this matter. Okay, no, you're trying to use synonyms, avoid this particular one, so the advantages of this matter outweigh its drawbacks, or the benefits of this matter outweigh the drawbacks. All right, moving on. Okay, I see what you did here. You used a 5-paragraph structure where you argued each side. That's what it looks like, and then you spent a paragraph for your opinion. You didn't need to do that, okay? Typically, we recommend a 4-paragraph structure, but let's see what you said. At first glance, a sudden flow of alien notions seemed to be harmful for the locals. Okay, so you're talking about the negatives here. Seems. All right, not seemed, because it's something that occurs all the time. It's a general fact, so not past simple. All right. Friction between the new and the old might agitate the mental foundation of any particular culture. For instance, Chinese nowadays are less familiar with Confucianism than with the Western way of life after intensive exposure to commercials. Furthermore, ideological conflict might turn into violence any second after a long period of feeling depressed. Now, here's an idea where you really need to expand it. I mean, what's this about violence and feeling depressed? Why would anyone feel depressed, and what does that have to do with international marketing? If there is some connection, you need to explain it to your reader. All right, whether that reader is me, whether it's the examiner, you can't just leave an idea like this dangling in the air like that. You have to support it. Moving on. On the other hand, interacting with foreign concepts comes hand in hand with a wide range of advantages. Most visibly would be deepening the population's understanding about other cultures. Economically, this will open the gateway to a much larger client base by introducing one's products as a component of one's culture. As a result, international marketing strengthens the relationship between cultures, which may lead to future collaborations. Okay, it feels a little bit more about globalization than it does about international marketing. Take a look at it. It's like, I feel like that's really the title of this paragraph. It's not international marketing. If you're not sure what I mean about international marketing, definitely do like a Google search about it and see if you can kind of tailor this more to that particular topic. All right, in your 3rd paragraph. Personally, I suppose international marketing should be conducted through win-win methods. Parallel to profit, creating local value should be another main focus of any marketing campaign, singular here. For example, the Dasani bottled water was promoted successfully in Japan through a strategy focused on environmental friendliness, the main concern of the locals. All right, this is nice. Even though, like I said, we generally don't really support a 5-paragraph structure, but rather a 4-paragraph structure. Here, I feel like, yeah, you understand the idea of international marketing. But this is something that you should have incorporated elsewhere. I mean, now you're talking about the topic, you're talking about international marketing. I didn't feel it like that so much here, especially here it felt like more about globalization. So what I would have done is I would have incorporated this into the previous paragraph to kind of enrich that paragraph and make it more relevant to the topic. All right, moving on. In general, international marketing should be an equal chance to be utilized by both the guest and the host. Let the progress of both sides as be the incentive, and we will witness a leap forward in the development of both parties. All right, that's nice. So the language is lovely here. I mean, there's not really too much that I corrected. There was a problem with the development. I felt like you went a little off topic. Okay. So that's the kind of thing that I would like you to work on to improve. Now, I hope that we get to see more of your essays in the future, whether that's through additional video corrections or whether that means, you sign on to the online course to get the full range and to learn really how to develop your answers in a relevant way to get the band score you need. I hope that you select one of those methods so that we can see more of your essays. Okay, so with that, that's the end of our correction. I wish you lots and lots of luck and keep on writing.